Welcome to the Vedic Mystics channel. In this video, we will enumerate the five main components of a Vedic chart, review the South Indian and North Indian chart styles, discuss the advantages of each style, and finally, walk through an example converting a South Indian chart to a North Indian chart and vice versa. In the South Indian style, signs or rashis are fixed, and the houses or bhavas change. The diagonal line at the corner of a house is the ascendant or the first house. This is represented by the arrow in the slide. Houses are counted clockwise starting from the ascendant. In this example chart, the ascendant sign is Libra, which is the first house in this chart. Saturn is in Aquarius, the fifth house, and Venus and Ketu are in Virgo, the 12th house. The Vedic chart helps answer the question posed by Maitreya to Parashara in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. What is the relationship of the individuals on earth to the celestial bodies in the sky? To answer this, we need to understand the environment, the players, the tasks, and our self. Rashis and nakshatras outline the environment. Rashis are broader, like countries, and nakshatras are narrower, like a state or region within the country. The planets or grahas are the players that make use of the resources offered by the environment in which they reside. The houses or bhavas represent the activities or tasks the players perform in the environment. Finally, the ascendant represents our self. Here is an example of the same chart represented in the South Indian style as well as the North Indian style. In the North Indian style, houses are fixed and signs change. The ascendant and first house is always at the top of the diamond, again marked by an arrow in the slide. Houses are counted anti-clockwise from the ascendant. The number on the chart represents the Rashi. For example, 1 represents Aries. In the example chart, the ascendant sign is Libra. Hence, we have the number 7 in that house. Saturn is in Aquarius in the 5th house. And again, Venus and Ketu are in Virgo in the 12th house. There are advantages to both styles. In the South Indian style, it is easier to see exaltation, debilitation, Virgotama, strengths of a planet. Sign characteristics are also easier to read because they are fixed. For example, planets in dual signs, even signs, fire signs, and also the Lord of Signs and Nakshatras are much easier to read in the South Indian style. In the North Indian style, it is easier to see Digbala. House characteristics are easier to read because they are fixed. For example, the Kendra houses, trick houses are easier to read in the North Indian style. In my opinion, it is easier to identify yogas in the North Indian style. Now let us convert the following chart in the South Indian style to the North Indian style. The first step is to identify the ascendant and its sign. The sign with a small diagonal line across its top left corner is the ascendant. This is indicated by the orange arrow in the slide. Aries, the first sign, is always the second from the left on the first row. Starting from this sign, count clockwise until you reach the sign of the ascendant. Taurus is the second sign, and so on until we reach Libra, the seventh sign. Write the number 7 in the top house of the diamond in the North Indian chart. The second step is to write the sign numbers in all the houses sequentially, working counterclockwise. Write the numbers until you reach 12. Once you reach 12, continue with the next sign as 1 because there are only 12 zodiac signs. The third and last step is to add the planets or grahas. Moon is in the ascendant and therefore write Moon in the first house. There are no planets in the second, third, or fourth houses. Saturn is in the fifth house and Rahu is in the sixth house. Add these to the chart. There are no planets in the seventh house. Jupiter is in the eighth and Mars is in the ninth. Add Jupiter and Mars to the chart. There are no planets in the 10th house. Mercury and Sun are in the 11th house, and Venus and Ketu are in the 12th house. Add these as well. This completes the transformation of the chart from the South Indian style to the North Indian style. Now that we went through the process in great detail to convert from the South Indian to the North Indian style, the reverse process should be straightforward. Step 1 is to identify the ascendant sign number. This is written in the first house in the North Indian style chart. In this example, the number 7, which is circled in the slide. Count 7 clockwise from Aries and add a small diagonal line at the corner of Libra's sign. Step 2, add the grahas starting with the moon in the first sign. Continue adding the rest of the planets by moving counterclockwise in the North Indian style and clockwise in the South Indian style. Saturn in the 5th house and Rahu in the 6th house. Followed by Jupiter in the 8th house, Mars in the 9th house, Mercury and Sun in the 11th, and Venus and Ketu in the 12th house. This completes the transformation of the chart from the North Indian style to the South Indian style. In conclusion, both North Indian and South Indian styles have their advantages. It finally boils down to one's preference. Sometimes it might be good to have both versions when you're analyzing a chart.